Okay, next step will be the hair. The hair will be a little tricky, but at the same time it's not that complicated. The advantage is that we already have etched the direction of the hair, and the parts of the body that shows in between the strands of hair has been masked, so will be no problem. But I prefer to do the hair now before that, because I will spray this silver, and will not be a flesh tone, of course, will be a blending color, but the intensity of the hair, if I show you here, will be a lot darker than the body. So once I have the darker areas defined, the rest will be kind of easy. So taking advantage of the mask areas on the body, I can work freely with the hair. So I will do a little bit of a freehand, and maybe sometimes the edges with the stencil. But this time I will use Midnight Blue, which is an awesome, intense, dark blue. And this time I have no reducer in my mix, because I want to have the color very intense, because I will do strands and lines, and I will do like a mini dagger strokes. Okay, so for me it will be important to have my test sheet right next to me, and I will tell you why. I know I have a lot of test strokes, but I will fold this back and put it right next to me. It's important not to have it on the side, but have it right next to me. Why? Because I will do freehand lines, and I need to be sure that everything sprays nice and accurate. So put a little piece of tape there. I will put another piece of tape in the other side just to hold it. Sorry about that. There you go. Okay. Why is this important? Because I can go from here to here in no time. So I will do some tests here. So it's blending good, but if I go close, my strokes can be nice and clean. And this is candy paint, it's not illustration paint. So all I'm going to do is try to follow the direction of the hair and just make it happen. So this area is so if you see it, I'm just doing dagger strokes just to define. If for some reason my paint is not coming well, I just testing here, be sure that everything is fine. And yes, it's working good. So I will keep working, doing the shadings this way. In some areas, I will probably use a stencil like this, for example, just to grab the curve and spray the edge. Okay? Once I do that, I can just go back and shade just to make a definition. I will just follow the direction of the hair that I did previously, you know, and then do freehand. And if I need it, I will use my stencil, curve stencil, just to shade the area and keep going. So that's what I will do to create the hair. But of course, just something in this area right here, you see how dark it is? I will probably shade that before. So this section dark is important for me to be sure that will be darker, that section, because it will give volume. Besides the definition of the hair, I need to be sure that I keep that in mind to give volume to the head. Okay guys, I'm gonna keep working on it, right? Okay, I have the basics of the hair. I, unmasked the hair, did the base colors. I still need to do highlights and detail into it. But before that, I will like to blend the body, the arm, the chest, and the arm behind the hair. So that way, when I do highlights, I can do multiple highlights in the whole area to bring it alive, but I need to blend this. I really like the fact that this part is the aluminum with no ground metal, just very basic. So that way, when I do my shading, the highlights will be pretty much the same aluminum, and it looks true. So because when we have a bright light, everything glows, because the reflection. So I don't like to kill the effect of the skin. Oh, well, not skin, but the body. So I will use cerulean blue, which is not candy, is illustration color. But remember, all depends on the intensity and how much paint you spray on it. So I can blend it, very, very easy, very subtle, but also I can follow my reference and I can follow the shading. I will bring down this image close to me so I can actually see what I'm doing. One of the things that I do often when I'm dedicating to a specific area is I fold my reference image at the edge of the area that I'm copying. So for example here, that way I can see where the shading goes in which areas instead of having far away, so I'll be able to read very easy. So what I do is just, place it here, put in some tape, and because I will concentrate in this area. I also uncovered this mask. I have a mask in here, so this way I can keep going and blend the image. So just to give an idea, I will try to do similar shading since this is a blue tone, and if I have overspray over this, is no problem, because after all, I will do some highlights, and that will clean up or cover wherever it needs to be covered. So then I'm start doing with the blue and leaving the highlights as an empty areas, so this will be very interesting. The cool part is that I can shade with transparency. So you can see that but plus is only shading, is not a major detail on the body. It's more like a suggest. This area, the background is covered. It has a mask, so I can start here on the mask and bring lines inside. And it's no problem because this area has been protected by the mask. And just to show you a little bit is I have this cover, so you can see that this area is not damaged because the mask is protecting that area. So I will do it the same way, keep building up my shades, then I will come back with highlights also for better definition. But we are getting in there. So I'll see you in a couple minutes, okay? Thank you, guys. Okay, guys, time for highlights. So I've been doing a little bit on the hair, but now I will go over on the very bright section of the tail and some of the fins. What I'm using for this purpose is the new Wicked Opaque Black. It's 0030. It's a very good white. It's the new formula, and I think we'll get surprised with the results of this. It's very bright, and the flow is smoother now. It's a great product. So what I'm doing is I will spray some of the edges, like what I'm doing here. Okay, there you go. I need to spray a little bit on the side, and I will concentrate in these highlights. For that, I will use my Texture Effects from the 3rd series, and all I'm doing is just pretty much kind of concentrate here on the center and going down, just enhance the center of it, but with a little bit of texture. That creates a very awesome effect that goes very well with the actual ground metal effect underneath. So the cool thing about it is that depends on the angle that I really like to use. I just place my stencil and spray in that direction. So I can spray out a little bit on the sides just to blend it better. But this is just an accent, so I don't need to go too much for that, but just the beginning of doing highlights. The same thing I will do on the edges here. Especially in the center, so I will create some kind of a effect, and I will switch now to a smaller stencil, and I will just accent the center of it, and it gives me this cool effect. And that's how I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna keep working on it, and I hope we have it this ready pretty soon. Okay, guys, I'm working on the highlights. As you can see, I removed the mask for the background, so I'm start doing highlights here and there, and just to balance pretty much everything. The main highlights on the mermaid are done. You probably noticed that it's a little shine on the background, and that's because we had the 4040 as a bleed checker, but it dries gloss or satin, so that's why it looks a little dull if you compare, but in reality it's going to be very, I think the mermaid will be more brighter than the rest because of the reflection. But anyway, I need to do some of the stars and the ambience on the background, so part of it will be done with the stars, and a very good trick to do it is just by doing the nozzle cap. You know, I take the nozzle cap off, you know, and I will I raise my air pressure, and then I'll be able to spray a few stars. I did it before, but then I covered that with the candy. So now these stars and dots start looking more brighter because are not being let's say sucked by the candy color underneath. You know, it's not bleeding going through. So I'm just spraying a few, and some of them goes in here also, only a few on the surroundings. It's very easy way And it's nice and easy to control, actually. Even if I want to be sure that I will not touch, for example, part of the body and hair, I will just grab a piece of cardboard, and just to be sure, you know, I go only on the areas that I really need it. Okay, so I will have a few right here. There's still some job to do it, but this is kind of important. It gives some touch, but of course, also I need to go back and make a glow on some of them. I go now lower with my air pressure, choose a few of them, and you know, the glow will make stand out more. So that's why I started working on the background. Okay, so I think it will be a nice blend, and well, I keep going. Okay, it's moon time. It's to complement this area on the background. I will add a moon, actually, which is kind of it's important part of the composition. So it will be located in this area. As you can see in the reference, it's just right there and here, so I just need to make it here. But sometimes we need some circles, a specific size. So in order to do that, I use my circle cutter. You know, it's a circle compass. Alpha is the brand, and it's awesome, it's great. So what I will do is I will use the same kind of mask material, which is transparent. I can use tape or any other thing, but I like this material. So all I do is just place it. I already figure the radius of it, so probably about that, maybe a little tiny bit smaller. I think that'll be fine. So, and all I do is just place it somewhere at the center and just cut it. This is very helpful tool. Okay, so hope I did good. Oh, I think I missed a little tiny piece right here. Sorry about that. There you go. Oh, it's always a little tiny. There you go, I got it. So I will use now the negative of it, place it. I think it's probably around here somewhere, okay? And I have the circle about the size that I needed. So once I have that, all I'm gonna do is just spray some white. In this case, I will use the Createx opaque white. This is my airbrush here. The white is kind of not thick, you know, it's kind of soft. And what I'm gonna do now is I will spray. But I want to go slow and don't go too crazy because I don't want to make any overspray. I don't like to have the frame mark. I hope I don't do it. So better to build up slow. Pretty much not solid white, but good white. I spray some air so to let it dry a little bit. And I will take one of my stencils just to add more intense areas, especially on the edges. Remember, I don't place it flat, I just lift a little bit and then spray. So just to have some variation of on the base. Okay, I will choose a different area every time. So that way I don't have like a repeat pattern. And this is mainly for the background. It's not actually the main for the final effect, but it helps to give some depth. Okay, so it's important to change the position of the stencil so that way we don't have a repeat pattern. Let's see how it looks so far. This is what we have it so far. So now I still need to do some shading. To do that, I will prepare some blue color. Okay, I will use the same cerulean blue that I've been using, but I will over dilute it a little bit. It's just a little bit, and also some 4011. I will mix and try. I will spray very, very soft, very light. This will be more like a kind of a background effect. I will use the same stencil. I'm just drying the paint and add a little bit of texture here. Maybe the blue is a little too intense. I will add a touch. I will add a drop of black then. Use one tiny bit of black just to make the shade not that intense. A little bit of reducer, mix it, so it will be a little darker shade, not as bright. I spray and let it make the paint come out a little darker and solid. Okay, now we'll repeat the same. Change position. Of course, it's imaginary moon. Doesn't need to be that realistic, but just to give the illusion. Now I will go back with white and touch that up. Okay, try to choose different side. This time I will use this other stencil, okay, which has similar look. And I think it starts coming nice. And all I'm gonna do is just spray more white at the center to intensify. And I like it so far, that look. I will take my stencil out, okay? Have the moon. All I need now is a glow. Actually, I have a little bit of overspray here, but it's not a big deal. I will add a glow. So the same white, I will just go over. I just higher my air pressure. And I have pretty much the moon right there, okay? I will go back, do some touches, a little bit of color around, but basically that's the way I do it. Okay, well, we are almost done with this project. Still need to do a general review, do touch-ups, highlights, shadows, just the end of it. But some of the interesting accents that add depth to this image are the birds that are flying in the background. So to make this, all I did is I just pre-cut on my reference image, the one I create first, some of the birds that are flying. So you can see the silhouette right there. You know, it's just cut out by hand. Nothing fancy, it's more like silhouettes, you know. But I have this on place just for position, having the reference of the moon mainly and kind of the edge of it. So what I will do is I will spray with a shade of cerulean blue and a drop of black. So that will make it dark enough to mark the silhouette. So I will spray at lower pressure, and I will do a couple passes on every one of the bird silhouettes. So this was actually a pre-cut image for when I transfer my main design before I do the ground metal effect. And I still need to do the ones on the other side, but so this gives you an idea of what's the process and how I do. As you can see, it's something so simple, but it's at the same time very effective because it adds depth and confusion because it's hard to believe a scene like this, but you know, it's fantasy and everything is valid on it. So let me take a look. If I need to increase the shading in any of one of them, I can always do it. So, but I guess this gives you an idea of what's going on, you know. Silhouettes of the birds flying over. It will give a great depth to it, okay? So, I think this helped you guys to see how's everything looking so far. So we're pretty close. So keep in touch.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Now that Gerald is done working his magic, it's time to put the final touches on this, which is the application of a clear coat. So we're using a 2K clear coat, an automotive style clear coat for that ultra high gloss. It's really going to let all that detail, all the ground effects in that panel really shine through all those candies. So 2 coats should do it. We'll bury everything out and give it a nice protective top coat. So this is it right here. Hey everyone, welcome back. We are pretty much ready to wrap up this video and complete this project. Gerald, unfortunately, had to hop on a plane and get back to California to a studio, but we finished clearing this, and this is the finished product. So you really can see the depth and vibrance that actually happens once you clear those candies. You really see this project come to life, and all the texture from those grindings, it's crazy the amount of movement this painting has. Even though it's just a 2-dimensional painting, it's insane. So we actually do have a little bit of sunlight out there. It turned out to be a decent day. We're gonna get this thing outside and show you guys what it looks like out in the sun. But again, thanks to Gerald Mendez and Gerald Mendez Studios for doing this project with us. And we'll see you guys in a second. We'll take this thing outside. All right, guys, we are outside in the sun. And it's a little bit windy, so bear with me. I don't want this thing to take off across our yard. But I think you can really see, again, that crazy depth and movement that Gerald was able to create in this panel with these candies. So one more time for Gerald Mendez and Createx Colors, I'm Chris Arpin. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll see you guys next time.